and welcome to Preschool Storytime with Miss Natalie. This week, we are going to read 3 of my absolute favorite stories, and I can't wait to share them with you. So let's get going with our first story, all about a boy who has his very own job. Friends, this story is called The Paper Boy. Let's see what happens in it. It's still nighttime, but there is a car on the road, Morning Star Gazette. That must be a newspaper. The mornings of the paper boy are still dark, and they are always cold even in summer. On the cold mornings, the paper boy's bed is warm, and it's always hard to get out, even for his dog. But they do. And softly they step down the quiet hall, past the door where the paper boy's father and mother are sleeping, and the door where his sister is asleep. And down to the kitchen where they eat from their bowls, and out to the garage where they fold their papers, snapping on green rubber bands and placing them in a large red bag. It's hard to ride a bike when you are loaded down with newspapers, but the paper boy has learned how to do this, and he is good at it. The paper boy knows his route by heart, so he doesn't think about which house to pedal to. Instead, he's thinking about big things, small things, and sometimes he is thinking about nothing at all. The dog too knows this route by heart. He knows which trees are for sniffing, which bird baths are for drinking, which squirrels are for chasing, and which cats are for growling at. All the world is asleep, except for the paper boy and his dog, and this is when they are happiest. But little by little, the world around them wakes up. The stars and the moon fade away, and the skies become orange and pink. But when the paper boy has delivered his last newspaper, he and his dog race home, and his empty red bag flaps behind him in the cold morning air. Soon they are back home. It is still dark inside, but the sounds of morning are all around. His father and mother are awake and talking in their bed, and his sister is downstairs watching cartoons. And back inside his own room, the paper boy pulls down his shade and crawls back into his bed, which is still warm. And while the whole world is waking up, the paper boy is going back to sleep, and his dog is sleeping too. Their work is done. And now is the time for dreaming. Well, I just love that story so much. Did you know that there are boys that get up in the morning and go deliver papers? Friends, it is time for us to sing our song. So if you are sitting down, I want you to stand on up. And we're going to sing the Hokey Pokey together, because we are going to put our parts of our two's bodies in and out. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. You put your right hand in, you put your right hand out, you put your right hand in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. You put your left hand in, you take your left hand out, you put your left hand in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. Now let's put our feet in. You put your right foot in, you take your right foot out, you put your right foot in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. Now our left foot. You put your left foot in, you take your left foot out, you put your left foot in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. Now we're going to put our whole bodies in. You put yourself in, you take yourself back out, you put your whole self in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. Good job, friends. And now let's sit down for our next story. Ready? 1, 2, 3, sit on down. This book, friends, is all about a library, but not a library like we have This is called the library bus. And in this story, the girl travels all around in a library bus all on her own. Well, maybe not on her own. We'll have to see. Arrange the books, clean up, be nice to the girls, Pari repeats under her breath. You'll be great, Mama says, giving Pari a hug. Today is Pari's first day as Mama's library helper. But no ordinary library, this one is on wheels. And it's the only library bus in all of Kabul. Instead of seats, it has so many books, Pari can barely count them. The streets are dark when Pari and Mama leave home, just like in the Paperboy. Their first stop is a small village in a valley between two mountains. A group of girls stands under a giant oak tree waiting patiently. One little girl waves her chador. Over here, she shouts. Pari opens the back door and everyone climbs inside. The girls return the books they borrowed last week and search for new books to read. Salam, my girls. Let's make a circle now, Mama says in a calm voice. We are going to practice some English. First, they sing the alphabet song, and then they count from 1 to 10. When the lesson ends, a girl in a yellow dress goes to Pari. Are you new here, she asks. What's your name? Do they run the bus? Can you print ABC? I can print letters all the way to Z. She talks very fast. I can print them too, Pari says quickly. But Pari can't even read or write in Farsi yet. Mama starts the bus, boom, and they set off to a refugee camp beyond the mountains. The old city spreads out in front of them like a colorful, embroidered scarves in the Grand Bazaar. Pari fidgets with her zipper. When did you learn ABC, ACD, Mama, she asks. Oh, you mean ABC. That's the English alphabet, just like Alif, Be, Te in Farsi. Mama takes a deep breath. Grandpa taught me a long time ago. When I was young, girls were not allowed to go to school to learn to read or write. I had to hide in the basement and study. Pari wonders if Mama was ever afraid in Grandpa's basement. It was so dark down there. Pari, when you go to school next year, I want you to study hard and never stop learning. And then you will be free. Tell me now, she added with a wink. How does learning make you feel? Free, Pari screams, raising her arms in the air. When they arrive at the camp, Pari sees these rows and rows of tents. There is dust everywhere, and kids have patches on their clothes. Mama announces, those who need notebooks and pencils, go to Pari. If you want books, come to me. Pari is surrounded by a group of girls asking for school supplies. Another girl squeezes her way to the front of the line. Give me a notebook, she says, jumping up and down with excitement. Soon everyone is ready for a lesson. A, B, C, D. Repeat after me one more time. A, B, C, Pari sings to herself very quietly. As they leave the camp, Pari reads the large letters written on the tents. W, F, P. And the next one is U, N, H, C, R. Good job, Pari, Mama cries. You got them right. Back at home, Pari helps Mama make dinner. And the table asks, will you teach me how to read? Mama says, you will go to a real school in the city. Why can't those girls go to a real school too, Pari asks. There are no schools for girls in the village or camp. They have the library bus once a week, but I will help them the same way your grandpa helped me. At bedtime, Mama kisses Pari's forehead. You did well today. Pari smiles and gives Mama a snug hug. She thinks about the girls in the village and girls from camps, and thinks about the library bus, the new places they will go, and the new girls they will meet tomorrow. Wow. Well, that's such a cool story. Pari gets to help her Mama find all new friends and help all these girls learn to read and find books. Isn't that a fun thing to do? Would you want to help girls find books? Or boys too? And now, friends, it is time for us to do our yoga pose of the week. Since we are talking about my favorite stories, we are also going to learn how to do one of my favorite yoga poses. We may have already learned this one, but it's always fun to learn them again. So we are going to learn how to become stars today. Or actually, friends, it is now time for our yoga pose of the day. And since I am choosing to share my favorite stories with you. I'm going to share one of my favorite yoga poses. This pose is called Warrior 2. Are you ready? You're going to stand up. So if you're not standing, stand on up. And you're going to take your feet and stomp them out nice and wide. Then you're going to take one foot and turn it till your toes are pointing away from your body. And then you're going to lean forwards, take your arms up to your chest, and then stick one arm behind you, one arm in front of you, and look towards your front hands. And now you are all warriors. And to get out of it, you take your hands, take one hand in, this other hand in, turn your toes back to face the front, on step 1, 2, feet in. Now let's do the other side. We're going to step one foot out and the other foot out. We're going to turn our toes on the other side to face away from our bodies and lean forwards and put one hand in front and one hand behind and look straight ahead. We are such strong warriors today. Then bring one hand in, the other hand in. You're going to turn your toes back where they were and step on in. Good job, friends. And now it's time for us to read our last story. So let's all sit down on the count of 3. 1, 2, and 3. Sit on down. And this last book, friends, is called The Granny Man. And it's about an old kitty cat who, you know what, kind of looks like a kitty I used to have. And it's one of my absolute favorite stories. Ready? Simon was a very old cat. Most of his parts, except for his nose, had stopped working years ago. Simon's family adored him and did all they could to keep him comfy. So when you get to be an old kitty, you need to be extra comfy. Mealtimes were messy for their toothless cat, so they got Simon a bib to catch the dribbles. Simon did not like wearing his bib, but Simon loved all of the heat his family gave him. He lay on his bones until they were almost too hot to touch. And when Simon slept at night, he snores and sneezed and breathed stinky cat breath into their faces, but they didn't mind. Some nights he stayed on the chair and shuffled through all of his memories. He could still remember being like a kitten and having all of his brothers and sisters go off to new homes, except for him. Nobody wanted the runt with a crooked tail and a runny nose. But one day, his family came and found him, and they named him Simon. He climbed, clawed, chased, and chewed everything in sight. He sculpted works of art out of chairs, which the family didn't like. And the older Simon grew, the more he helped out. He pruned the plants with his teeth and dusted all the hard-to-reach places. Simon's family grew and so did his responsibilities. Soon there were 2 new pets, and Simon helped take care of them. When he got older, he loved classical music. Sometimes he would even play on the piano. And he always got hungry and filled up on kitty crunchies. His life had been so full of mice, hisses, hugs, and kisses. But things were different. Simon needed his family's help more than ever. He felt so useless that on a Tuesday night at 10 o'clock, he stuck his old bony legs into the air and breathed his last. Or so he thought. Then they plopped something on Simon's tummy. Simon sniffed to the left, sniffed to the right. Why, it's a kitten, he thought. Even when he was little, even though it had been years, Simon remembered how he helped new pets. He wondered if he could still do it. So he climbed down from his chair and showed the kitten some milk, then how to wash his whiskers, and how to twitch his tail. Simon led the kitten to the litter box, and Simon decided to take a nap because the kitten took so long. And when Simon woke up, the kitten was gone. It must have been a dream, he thought, so he hauled his way back to his calico chair. But then something small and soft jumped on top of him. Simon sniffed to the left, sniffed to the right. Why, it's my kitten, thought Simon. Simon gave a kitten a bath, He washed his nose and his ears and between all of his toes, and they curled up together. And when Simon's family saw them together, they loved Simon even more and gave him a brand new name. They called him the Granny Man. Oh, look at Simon and the little kitten together. Well, that is so sweet. Simon has someone to play with and love him now that's a kitty just like he is. So much fun at Preschool Storytime with you. And I can't wait for next week because you know what? Next week, we will have Storytime back in the library. Starting in March, I think it's March 4th. We are going to be back in the library in person. So next week, I can't wait to see you either online or in the library. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next week. Bye!